Never said I'm gonna use that.
How you doing, Miss Dr. Khalil Muhammad? I mean Ali. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Fred. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming in doing this interview, man. So you know, I'm like this quasi historian, right? I was a history major in college, and I was born in Harlem, so I'm always fascinated with like
Harlem.
Yeah.
Harlem. That is the biggest Renaissance area in the world.
Right.
Oh, yes.
And I've been fascinated with like Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. And I mean, since I came out the womb, because every street that I walk, because I grew up in Esplanade Gardens, 47th and Lenox.
Yes.
Yeah. Right by the bus depot. So I've always been fascinated with it. And now I'm like this truth seeker. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to know the story. And when I met you in Van, I'm like, oh my heavens. Oh, yes. Now I can potentially get first person accounts, you know?
Can you imagine how I feel?
Right.
I'm looking at Judas and the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fred Hampton, I knew this guy personally. I mean, you know, me and Ali used to talk to this guy for hours.
Uh-huh.
And then you got and then his son, I saw his son when he was a baby.
Uh-huh.
So it was just amazing. I would like to hook up with him afterwards. I love that.
Mm-hmm. The host DB's here. DB, Dr. Ali, DB.
Okay. What's up? Where DB at?
Assalamu alaikum, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, alaikum assalam, my dear brother. Where's your face at? I want to see your face. Where's
it? I'm here in spirit.
Okay, bro. I can handle that. What happened? What happened to my thing? Wait a minute. Woo. What happened? Zoom did something.
We see you though. I see you.
I hit a button and somebody don't see you. This is not cool. Okay, let's go back. I don't see you. Where's my Zoom thing? Contact us. I don't want to contact you guys.
Okay, no, you're live right now. I see you perfectly, and we're recording.
I can't see you, and I don't like that.
Probably got to push the Zoom tab at the bottom of your.
Let me. It says something about contact. Oh, there it is.
Are you back?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
I forgot my screen. You touch it, it does stuff. I can't touch the screen. That's all.
All right, let's go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
You were born and raised in Chicago?
Cook County.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Cook County.
Born and raised. Mm-hmm. Headquarters of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's empire.
Right. And prior to meeting Elijah Muhammad, what was life like?
Well, see, as a child, my mother and father came into the nation back in late 40s. And when I was born, my father already was a first lieutenant. And when my mother and father would go to work, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, let me keep your daughter because I'm going to put her in our school. I'm not going to let her go to a public school. He said, can I do that? And my father and mother said, sure.
How old were
you? I think I was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And, you know, when they went to work, I stayed at his house with the grandchildren and played with them. And then they came up with the school. And so we all went to school together. He was like a grandfather to me, really, because I say grandfather to him just like all the other children. And it was when I got to some age and I found out who he was, it was like the leader. And it was always that kind of respect being around him and all in this big, beautiful mansion. And I just knew he was somebody. And then we see him speak all the time. It was like, wow, that's remarkable that I live and be in the house. I'm closer to him than the other members. So I was like, I was really honored to be there. My mother used to run a lot of his businesses. And when she left the Caucasian business, because she used to run a clothing store at Albums Apparel downtown Chicago. And she's do accounting. She was a brain. She just knew everything. She was like a mathematical brain. And my father worked at an American can company. And the Elijah Muhammad said, you don't need to lose your job. When you're not working, then you can work with me. And it was a real honor. It was a real honor to sit there and be into the school, and they're teaching Islam in the school and the rest of the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. But the only thing about it is we had Islam in the beginning and we have Black history in the middle. And all the books on the Black history was written by Langston Hughes. And I was only a little girl. Langston Hughes was probably the biggest writer that I've ever really respected and knew of at that age, because he wrote all these books on the Black history of the slaves and the shipments and, you know, the 100 amazing facts of the Negro. I mean, there was just so many books on the history of the Black people. Or the original, we call the original Asiatic people. We would never call ourselves Black, but at that moment. So the Elijah Muhammad told us how he came into being with the Moors, with the Moorish temple. He even had the red Moorish temple fast. And he told us all about Marcus Garvey, his regime. He even had a saying of Marcus Garvey in the auditorium called, "Up, you mighty nation, you can accomplish what you will." And Marcus Garvey did a lot of potential historic revolution movements in his period in time. During the time I was in the school, we had different foreign teachers from Africa, from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, from Ecuador. We had different teachers from different countries. And that was the most amazing part. We had some American educators, Sister Duro. She taught penmanship and manuscript. She was a real upright, upstanding woman. And it was just amazing to be around all that education, all that history. Now that fascinated me. It was awesome.
Now, did he tell you how he was introduced to the Nation of Islam and Farad Muhammad?
Not really. He never really specified on that, but he did say that he gave him a lot of tips on Islam. Give me cricket on Islam, and they gave us a lot of things that he talked with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he discussed the fact that our people was not ready for all the Islamic thing because they had to program and erase the mentality, the slave master mentality. So his philosophy is to clean us up, let us stand up on 2 feet, hold their head up right because of the destruction, the damage that the slave masters had infiltrated on them, making them feel unworthy, making them feel shame of themselves, didn't give them any kind of, that slavery mentality was really bad, because here's a people that's standing over people, making them work like slaves without pay or anything. It's like, you know, they had no self-esteem. They had very low self-esteem because of it. And they still do today. So discussing Islam, we learned about the caliphs and the prophets. We learned about the Jesus. venture. We learned about the Jesus that they created for Black people to love and treat as a God. So they could take everything else in the middle. They put the pie in the sky after you die, but they're going to stick around and get everything on the ground while you're still around. See, that's one of those things that we try to get out of our heads, but and think about what's important. Our diet, the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we talk to each other, the way we program to do everything the slave master wants you to do. The eating habits was unhealthy. That's why he came out with the book, How to Eat to Live. Mr. Furman ain't the only one did that. You know what I'm saying? So to be around great men like this, and then he would have certain leaders visiting the school when they're in the United States, like different historians, different history makers, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we had that, and that was a beautiful thing. When we had our restaurant, he would have great people like Hugh Masekela and what's her name? Miriam Makeba. We was always educated on history. Always. And to know that you couldn't put Black history in any of the schools. They didn't have it in the public schools. I said, they don't want to teach the Black people the history? You know what I mean? So, and we were the first ones with Black history in our schools. We knew who Langston Hughes was. Everybody in the Muslim school knew who these great men were. Haile Selassie, President Nasser and Nkrumah. I mean, we always are educated with the Black heroes of today that are ruling countries, but yet they keep our African American brothers, as they want to call them now. They've called them everything. They've called them colored people, Negroes, Black folks, Afro-American, and they're not either one of them. They don't fit any of that. You got the white Anglo-Saxon, that's it. White man, that's it. They don't have a whole lot of names for one person because they're trying to figure out what should we call these people. And the Elijah Muhammad taught us that they are the Asiatic, the original Black man, the original Asiatic people that lives here in America. There you go. We were taught that. So to be in that school was the best school I could ever go to. That's why they called it University of Islam, because they teach of people from the whole universe, the whole globe. So once you get out of that school, you're going to be the smartest person ever. And usually the Muslim students out that comes from or are going to the Muhammad University of Islam, they're like 20 times more advanced than a public school pupil. They're much more advanced because they teach us more than just that. Being a Muslim, they had a school for the sisters, a school for the men. The sisters have the MGT and GCC classes, which mean Muslim Girls Training and General Civilization class. Then you have the FOI, the Fruit of Islam, the brothers who are trained to provide, protect, and lead our families. That's what we're made for. So to say that is to say this. I am thankful that everything that I have learned underneath the umbrella of the Army Elijah Muhammad, I must say, I still have it with me within my knowledge, within the wisdom that I have used and still use it today. But it's more like now that I have that in place, now we can upgrade and have the true Islam to flourish. Because once you have the true Islam, you don't have to worry about racism and all that. You don't have to worry about that. Because it's not a part of our lives. We have to understand that the white man, the Chinese man, and all other different men, they're all created by Allah. He is the creator of them all. And we must learn to respect one another and take out the racism part and put in what we all need to learn. That means Caucasians, Chinese, Japanese. This religion is for everybody. So I was glad to get the upgrade, though. That was deep. I like the upgrade. the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's son, Muhammad, upgraded Islam and made it al-Islam, which is the proper channels for Muslims to follow. The proper guide, your proper leader is your Holy Quran. There you go.
DB,
and thankful to him, we have our Black brothers right here in America who can speak the language just like the foreigners, the Islamic countries, the Arab countries. They can understand it. And by him teaching us and giving them the proper tools to learn the language of Islam, to learn the language of our Creator that he created us to pray to and everything, we are grateful to that. And you have to live by it. You just can't make yourself an imam. The whole community has to vote you in to be a teacher of the Islamic religion, because you have to be a person who practices it. And you have to be independent of the masjids. The masjids are supposed to be supported by us. Our masjids don't support the imams. The imams, they have their own business to survive. And we are supposed to support the masjids. And I think a lot of people didn't want to do that. They want to live off of the mosque or the temple for their own private sources. That's not the way we roll. We don't roll that way anymore. And that's a good thing.
If growing up in an Islamic household with a respected father in the Islam community, what did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach you that your father didn't?
Well, you told me a lot. He taught me the religious part and why we should be respectful. Why we should be clean. But my father, he gave me what I needed it. What a father does, well, he makes sure that our house is clean. My father, he before he became Muslim, he went to the American War. He was in the Army, and I was the Army brat. And cleanliness was something that he instilled in me and my family. By me being the oldest, he instilled it in me first. And keeping the house clean was just something he did. I mean, my bedroom was a barracks, and if I didn't have my bed and my blanket and my sheets and the quarter didn't pop off the sheets, I was back in there trying to redo it again. So my father was a very strict man with restrictions on looking at television, everything. My father did a lot that Elijah Muhammad didn't teach me. So it's about cleaning up and being respectful. And that all coincides with the teaching. So my father's family, who was Christian, they have a very high caliber when it comes to keeping things clean and being on time, being respectful. You got certain Christians that have this thing for respect and cleanliness. You have some Christians that's more, they enforce that in their families. Some Christians don't. So, but my father's family, who were Christian, they were very, very strict on discipline and working hard for your money and doing the right thing by people. And they had the same Christian qualities. You know what I mean? So the Bible was very inspirational from the Christian side of my family. And the Quran was a good book too. Like every Muslim was supposed to have a Bible in his home right next to the Quran. So we'll know both sides, both ethics, both stories. And they're all the same story, you know, by Mary and Jesus and Joseph. It's the same story. We respect the same story. We believe in the same thing when it comes to that. It's how we believe in Jesus as Christ Jesus was the prophet of God. And he spoke and showed the right way. You know, he wasn't a Christian though. Jesus wasn't a Christian because Christianity didn't even evolve until after his death. So he wasn't a Christian. Jesus wasn't. But we learned all these little things as we were coming up, how to eat. I mean, we had to do everything that was opposite of what a regular Christian family home that still goes by the dietary laws of eating. Like they would have greens and they would put ham hocks in their greens. We would keep ourselves greens. We even put any meat in our greens. Later on, we started putting turkey, smoked turkey. But we was trying to get away from that slave food, you know, that slave food, you know, hog and all that, you know. And it's restricted even to eat hog in the Bible. The Christians are not supposed to eat hog either. They're supposed to be exempt from their dietary laws. It's the slave masters that put the pork in the plate of the slaves. Yeah.
Where did that what do you think the divergence and the variance between like Black Christians and Black Muslims come from?
Well, Black Muslims was created by the journalists of the newspapers. They would call us Black Muslims. We didn't call ourselves Black Muslims. We just call ourselves Muslims. But the journalists started with the Black Muslim thing. You know how Superman came out when he told him, he said, I'm a friend. His name was Kal-El, but they called him Superman. So, you know, it's just like somebody giving you a name for what they're accustomed instead of using your real name. Superman's, she said, you're a Superman. He said, no, my name, I'm a friend. His name is Kal-El. But she called him Superman because that's what she put in the paper. And that's what people did, was put a label on us as being, instead of saying Muslim, just Muslim, they called us Black Muslims because we were considered the Black people that weren't Christians. So they singled us out and made us different. But we didn't call ourselves Black Muslim at all. Never did.